Hi there. My name is Juji. Welcome to my channel. I'm so excited for you to be here. This is a space for anyone and everyone interested in exploring self-development and relationships through the human design system. Today, I'm going to talk about a couple that was suggested to me recently, George Clooney and Amal. And I was trying to think about what the topic was or what the angle would be for these two. And I decided that I wanted to approach this from the perspective that George Clooney was sort of written off as this lifelong bachelor, and Amal seemed to come out of absolutely nowhere and captured his heart. Right? We all loved this story, them making googly eyes at each other on the red carpet. And we wanted to know what the deal was. What was it about this woman? I mean, he had dated beautiful women for years, for decades even. And what was it about this woman particularly that made the difference? I mean, she is gorgeous. She is a humanitarian. She is exotic. I totally understand it from a surface level perspective, but let's dig a little deeper. All right, so this is George Clooney. He is a 3-5 single definition emotional projector. And you can see that he only has one channel, the 4037. And we talked about this in the last video because this is a channel that he has in common with Yoko Ono. And what I pointed out about this channel is that this is all about the bargain. These people are all about their bargains. And what is a marriage if not a bargain? So what I predict when I look at Amal's chart is that she is able, as a lawyer especially, able to strike a good bargain with George. So whatever that is in his case, she is able to provide. Now, I want to also point out that George is a 3-5, so he has this third line process that he goes through of trial and error, bonds made and broken. And in a way, we can see that him not getting married was a way for him to demonstrate that he understands that he needs to try a lot of different kinds of relationships before he feels comfortable settling on one, right? Like he didn't want to settle, get it? He didn't want to just pick the first person that came along. He felt like he needed some potentially. This is a potential, right? I've never heard him say these words out loud, but potentially he was truly waiting for that right moment where he felt complete and where he felt like he was ready for that kind of commitment instead of jumping into something willy-nilly. We've also talked a lot about how projectors are often attracted to generator types. So let's see what lies beneath the surface for Amal. So this is Amal, and I don't actually have accurate birth time for her, but I clicked around on the date of her birth and nothing really changes except her profile. So we're not really going to look at that. We are, however, going to talk about how she's a split definition sacral manifesting generator. What you can see from this is that she is open emotional and he is defined. So people who are open are often attracted to those who are defined emotionally. And of course, we've talked many times about how generators love the projector focus that they get and that projectors love that generator energy. They also both have ego definitions, so it's easy to see that there's not one person who's necessarily dominant here, although as the emotional authority, George is the authority in the relationship in terms of timing. So let's look at their connection chart. All right, so this is them together. And as you can see, they have 6 centers defined and 3 centers open. And we call this 6 and 3 better to be free. Now, what this technically means is that there needs to be a lot of space between these two people in the relationship. I don't know a whole lot about their marriage, but it seems like when somebody's a bachelor for such a long time, they probably get used to a certain type of freedom. And if Amal is able to give this freedom to him, they shouldn't really have a problem. They also only have one electromagnetic channel. Now, based on the fact that I don't have proper birth time for Amal, this could potentially change with certain gates being defined or undefined in the chart. But for the sake of this analysis, I'm going to say that they just have this one, and it is the channel of rhythm and flow. And if they are able to fall into a healthy rhythm and flow with one another, this could really point to longevity for their relationship, because it's all about becoming, that person almost becomes a habit, right? Not in a boring way necessarily, but in a way that feels steady and calm. And that is the kind of relationship that people who are in the public eye crave the most. So the name of this video is actually How Can You Tame a Confirmed Bachelor? And this is an interesting question from the standpoint that George Clooney is this Hollywood movie star. He was sexiest man alive. Women have been throwing themselves at him since he played a doctor on ER, maybe before that. And it's correct in a lot of ways, because projectors are here to be seen. They're here to be recognized. And my suspicion is that Amal recognizes and sees him, potentially in a way that nobody else can. Now, the funny thing is George Clooney and Leonardo DiCaprio have been compared many times, not as much since George got married, but there was a lot of chitter chatter about how the two of them were these like loud and proud bachelors in Hollywood. And this video made me decide that I needed to look at Leonardo's chart, and I'm going to flash it for you now. All right, so this is Leonardo DiCaprio's chart. Right off the bat, you can see that him and George have a few things in common. They're both projectors. They're both emotional authority. And both of their authority is defined by the same channel, this channel of community, which we also call the bargain maker. So it seems that George has found his perfect bargain, and Leo hasn't necessarily done so yet. I would also like to point out that he is on the left angle cross of defiance. So what could be more defiant than refusing to settle down and make beautiful babies with somebody else who's beautiful? Another thing I want to point out is that Leonardo DiCaprio is a 6'2", which means that for the first 30 years, he was experiencing a third line process. George Clooney is a third line, so he was making bonds and breaking bonds as a natural part of his process. And so was Leonardo DiCaprio for the first 30 years. Then, during his 30s, he climbed onto the roof, and he's been making sense out of those first 30 years since then. Now, his Chiron return is actually coming up. You can check that out. So his Chiron return is May 7th, 2024. What is significant about the Chiron return for a sixth line is that is when they are here to complete their process, come off the roof, and step into their role as role models. A lot of the times we say that it's the right person at the wrong time. And this is actually very true. I did a video about this actually with J-Lo and Ben Affleck about how their timing was just not really aligned, because she was going through her Saturn return as a 6'2" herself. And now that she's in her Chiron, she was ready for that kind of commitment to him. And this could be the same with Leonardo DiCaprio. It could just be a matter of who he's with at the time that he goes through that cycle shift. There was an episode of Sex and the City where Miranda compared men to taxi cabs, that they could be driving around for years, picking up women, dropping them off, and not until their light goes off are they ready to really pick one up and commit to that one person. So that could be very true for Leo as well. And whoever the lucky lady is, we'll see. The reason I wanted to show his chart is because I have heard so many projectors say, my partner didn't see me. My partner didn't understand me. My partner didn't recognize me. I literally heard a projector say that to me today. So the evidence is pretty clear. If you want to seduce a confirmed bachelor, it's all about recognizing them. It's all about seeing them for who they are, not for being a movie star, not for being sexiest man alive, not even for their extracurricular projects that they work on. It's all about seeing the deeper them. And I feel like even though we're talking about projectors, this is kind of true across the board. When people feel seen and heard, they feel safe. They feel compelled to show more of themselves to their partner. And when they feel safe and open and vulnerable, that's when true connection can really happen. And that's actually what I believe happened with Amal. She was able to reach George in a way that nobody else could. And when you feel that good in somebody else's aura, when you feel so seen by somebody, you never want to let that go. He put a ring on it, and it seems like they're going really strong. So bravo, Amal, and anybody who's looking to snag Leonardo DiCaprio, maybe Gigi Hadid. It really is all about recognizing him for his innate gifts and for his depth and his emotional intelligence. And he will be eating out of the palm of your hand. All right, guys, I think that's a pretty good place to wrap it up. If you liked this video, hit the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Please also comment below if you have any comments, questions, or if you have any celebrity couples you'd like me to take a look at. I just got a request for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, so stay tuned for that one. You can also follow me on Instagram at HD/Z and find me on my website. The link will be in the show notes below. There you can see I offer individual human design readings, a relationship mentorship, and a community for conscious women called the Beehive, where we practice strategy and authority in our everyday lives. Would you like to receive a reading with me about your relationship? Do you want to explore your personal human design for your own development? Feel free to book a Zoom call appointment with me on my website. Until next time, ciao for now.